Oh yeah, we back up in this thing this morning, y'all. Top of the morning, as y'all can see. You know, I'm in the little lake or whatever. But quick question, y'all. Quick question. How is my MMA community feeling post UFC 329? How is y'all feeling? You know, do y'all still got that sour taste in y'all mouth due to how the main event ended, or y'all just like Max Holloway? It is what it is. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. But it's your boy DHP. Y'all know what it is. And this is my weekend recap. And we got some shit to talk about. It's more like, now this ain't gonna be a traditional weekend recap, because I do want to talk a big perspective on Conor McGregor. But we got some things to announce on this channel, fight making wise. So we're gonna talk about that towards the end of the video. For those that follow my Instagram channel, y'all know what I'm referencing to. Shout out to Joshua Van. I basically just gave it away, but we're gonna talk about it a little bit towards the end of the video. But oh man, Conor McGregor. I'm gonna put it like this. Because Conor is a very controversial fighter in mixed martial arts, professional mixed martial arts. He's one of these fighters where it's you either love him or you hate him, but you can't take away from what he accomplished in the sport of MMA, and more importantly in the UFC. As y'all know, my older video, as I said in my older videos on Instagram before that shit got taken down, and even I probably mentioned it like on YouTube early on. Now Conor, he is one of the greats in the UFC. Now, is he top 5 of all time? No. To me, he's not. And that's only because of the same reason why I don't have Khabib in my top 5, their longevity. I feel like Khabib and Conor was on course. Well, obviously, with that fight happening, Khabib proved he's better than Conor. But I feel like they was both on course for both of them to be inside the top 5. But Conor did what he did, plus with the losses that he had, and then Khabib retired early. Khabib pretty much retired, like, not even in the middle of his prime. Khabib retired, like, to me, I feel like Khabib retired early in his prime. That's just my opinion. But regardless, Conor McGregor himself is iconic to the UFC. When we talk about the legends of the sport, my era, I always say Chuck Liddell brought me to the sport of MMA. But I also grew up watching Lyoto Machida, Shogun Rua, Rampage Jackson. And then we go down to the niggas that started MMA from the 90s and early 2000s. We go to Tank Abbott and Hoist Gracie and Mark Coleman. Shit, you could throw in Randy Couture in too. Randy Couture with the Chuck Liddell days, he was a little bit before Chuck, but he was around that time when I started, watching the UFC. But Conor, he is just as iconic to the brand of the UFC as them. So give it, like me being 30 years old, give it like another decade. We gonna talk about Conor forever and ever and ever, as long as we're watching, and we still, we watching the sport of MMA and we're on this earth. But as I always say, bruh, the sport passes you by. I'm not gonna go through the whole spiel of, the intricacies, however you pronounce that word, of being an active fighter, non-active fighter, but the sport do pass people by, and Conor McGregor is that time, brother. It's the same shit recently we talked with Izzy, Conor at this point, and shout out to Dom Cruz, because I seen the video this morning, and it's crazy because there's things that Dom Cruz, even though Dom Cruz is one of my all-time favorites, my personal favorites, there's some things that Dom Cruz says that I'm like, what the fuck, Dom? Like, I don't agree with it. But this one I do agree with. I think Conor really came back just for, you know, not redemption. It's more like to save his life from the dangerous, you know, party animal, Rob Gronkowski type lifestyle. You know what I mean? Except Rob, that's a whole different topic in his own self. But Gronkowski, he was a party fucking animal. And especially for my football heads, y'all know Rob, this nigga Gronk, he really didn't take... Now, he was a very gifted guy in football, but like practicing, you know, working on his craft day in and day out, he wasn't really that type of guy. He was just so gifted at football that he can get away with certain shit. But he was a party animal. But Conor, he was like Gronk, but he took it like a step, like levels above, because you would tell Conor was doing some drugs, bro. Let's be honest. Conor was doing some drugs, and that affected his lifestyle, and that's where you see him getting in trouble with the law and him feeling like he's untouchable. He's out here assaulting people and shit like that. Now, I don't really bring up anything personal about an athlete, but what I'm leading to is what Dom Cruz said is pretty much right, because Conor was heading down a path where all the naysayers would say that's typical for an athlete. When an athlete get that much fame and money, that's very typical for the path that they choose to go on. And we seen that a lot from professional athletes in other sports, where they get to a certain point in their career where they have everything that they want and they still fuck it up because they feel like they're either untouchable with the law, or they just start experimenting and they just keep going down the rabbit hole. And Conor was heading down that path. Matter of fact, he was already in the rabbit hole. But to Dom Cruz's credit, shout out to Dom, Conor came back to save himself, which, you know, and I've said, you know, going back to the video, win or lose, this is a W for the sport of MMA, because it not only do... And one of the things I didn't mention was Conor himself. I was talking about as a whole for the sport. It brought a lot of eyes back to the sport, whether it's hardcore or casual. But just now that I'm looking back at it a day removed, Conor himself. I feel like Conor, even with this loss, and, you know, Conor, I wouldn't say he got humbled, but it's more like another setback in the road. I feel like Conor is much more, and I saw what he said, you know, but I feel like his mindset is different now. So now, even though he's in the gutter, you know, he's a little bit depressed about the shit that happened, I feel like this is not going to set Conor off back into the deep end. He's going to bounce back. But with that being said, I think it's time. Just, you ain't got nothing to prove, bro. Conor, at this point, you ain't got nothing to prove. You now, it's too late for you to become a top 5 all-time UFC fighter when we do our rankings and shit. But as far as like overall legacy in the UFC, we still consider you one of the greats in the UFC. So ain't really nothing much you can do. As I told, you know, one of my boys in the group chat or whatever, and I said this to my other mans, at this point, I would love to see Conor just stay in the sport. Do like what Uriah Faber did with Team Alpha Male, bro. Go ahead, open up a gym, become a coach, trainer, boxing coach, whatever, and just, you know, work on, do like John Jones doing right now with Gable Stevenson. Work with the next generation. Breed some fighters, whether it's obviously his shit gonna be boxing and kickboxing oriented, but breed some next generation fighters that can carry on your legacy fighting wise. You know what I mean? I think it's pretty much time. Conor, you know, as crazy as he is at times, Conor is a smart nigga, bro. Conor is definitely a smart nigga. So I would be more comfortable in saying he would be a good qualified coach and trainer to somebody. You know, look at Khabib. Khabib, he's damn near undefeated. He might got a couple, I think 1 or 2 coaching losses, I think. Cause what's that boy, bruh? Cause it was one of the niggas that's in his camp lost to Sergio Pettis at the PFL event like a couple months ago. I covered it. Well, I covered the main event on my channel. I think it was like the Usman Nurmagomedov. It was that fight where I correctly predicted he was gonna get him out of there like the third round. But look at Khabib. Look at John. Like I said, with John Jones doing Gable Stevenson. Even Uriah Faber. He had, while he was currently active fighting, this nigga had everybody, bro. He was doing everything. He had fucking Cody Garbrandt, you know, TJ Dillashaw. And he was mentoring Chad Mendez as well. And I forgot who was the female that was on that roster, but she was pretty decent in the UFC. So with Conor intellect on the sport and just his mindset now, yeah, I'm more than confident that he will be an excellent, you know, coach in MMA. So Conor, just stop fighting, bro. Just go ahead and stop fighting and just stay in the sport and just become a coach and trainer, bro. Because low key, as I told my mans, Conor, he can still talk that shit. So, and that's another avenue lane for him too, is he already got his own promotion. He could definitely be a promoter. You know what I mean? So Conor, at this point, he's one of the fewest transcendent athlete of his respective sport where he really don't need to be active. You know what I mean? And I preach activeness because we all know MMA is an ever-evolving sport. Even right now, as I'm talking to y'all, there's some new techniques and new craftsmanship in a discipline that's being worked on right now in some local MMA gym as we speak right now. So I ain't gonna go too deep with it, but y'all know how I feel with Conor being away from the sport. It hurt him. It hurt him. He's been away for so fucking long. Cause I'm gonna say this before I move off of it. When Conor last fought, they wasn't really doing a lot of calf kicks. They wasn't doing a lot of calf kicks when Conor last fought. And now we're like 5 years into the shit. His return, it's a lot of fucking calf kicking. So that right there. And then we go even further. There was at one point where a lot of niggas wasn't really oblique kicking, and niggas see John Jones do it, and now you see half of more Thai fighters start to oblique kick niggas a lot more. Like, we can go back to the recent fight with Khalil Roundtree. Khalil Roundtree was, well, that ain't the most recent fight. Gable Stevenson, he was doing some oblique kicks in that fight, but Khalil Roundtree was oblique kicking the fuck out of Jamal Hill. So we can go a little further with that, because I don't remember, like in the Chuck Liddell days, Lyoto Machado days, even the Anderson Silva days, and when Anderson fought Vitor, Rich Franklin, all these boys, there wasn't a lot of oblique kicking until John Jones burst onto the scene. And now niggas is taking what John Jones did, and that's pretty much in every more top. Hold on. This is a steep hole right here. That is a fucking steep hole. Lord Jesus. But now half of these more Thai fighters, they have an oblique kick in their repertoire. So you see what I mean about like new techniques and new craftsmanships, and everything is being worked on. So as with everything, you know, you go down to BJ Penn, you know, you can't really say Tony Ferguson. I think Tony Ferguson, the sport didn't pass Tony Ferguson up. It's just more so Tony just regressed. Like everything, his athleticism and everything that he does best is just regress, and that's just with damage and old age. But BJ Penn, when BJ Penn came back, he had everything. BJ Penn just had everything just go against him. Fucking old age, his athleticism decreased, his punching speed decreased, and his MMA style was outdated. So, and this is why I say I love BJ. I love BJ Penn. But he is a prime example of fighting too long and coming back at the wrong time, because he's the only fighter that I've seen that had everything go wrong against him. Like, everything went against him in his return. But Conor, to get off Conor for the video, don't even think about a trilogy, bro. Because I heard what Max said, you know, we can run it back. Don't even think about it. Just go ahead. It is what it is. And I know some niggas gonna feel a certain type of way because I seen the reportedly payout that Conor was on some Floyd Mayweather shit, because he was getting like 400 or 500 something K like per second. So the fact that he got that per second and the fight lasted like 69 seconds, like Conor got himself a bag off of that shit. Now I don't know how true that is, because they talking about Conor ended up getting like 30 mil for this fight or whatever. If that's the case, then we need to have an open discussion. I need to go back and make a part 3 or part 4 or whatever on fighters pay, because Max reportedly got 3 mil, Conor got 30 mil. That's fucking crazy. So I ain't really gonna go too in depth in that, because I don't think that's actually true. And maybe it is, but yeah, bro. Conor, don't even worry about no fucking trilogy. Just go ahead and just sit it on down, call it a career. I mean, you still one of the greatest, not the greatest, but you still one of the greatest. You're iconic. So that leaves us to Max Bless Holloway. Hey, when this nigga point down to the octagon, it's time to get scrapping, nigga. But Max Holloway, so, and I'm gonna bounce around on this, because Justin Gaethje, I seen some, of course, Ali said something. Justin Gaethje, he's going to defend his belt against a new opponent, and by new opponent means new matchup, because he beat Paddy. All right, Ilya Topuria. He just beat Ilya Topuria, and Ilya, he's not coming back anytime soon. I think not until the end of the year, I believe. He lost to Max, and then he lost to Charlie Olives. So, with that being said, right, I was thinking that maybe, and like I said, I'm gonna bounce around because we gotta talk about Paddy too. Maybe Max might slide in there and potentially get that fucking rematch against Gaethje. But then as I thought about it, I'm like, nah, because y'all know how I feel. Y'all know how I feel about, like, okay, like in today's climate of the UFC, Max Holloway would get a title shot low-key, because he beat Conor McGregor, and Conor McGregor is iconic. He already beat Justin Gaethje, so that's automatically inclined for a rematch, even though he lost to Charlie Olives, which is still in the top 3 at lightweight. So, but it is interesting that they said, well, Ali said that Gaethje is facing a new opponent, which made me think, I think Arman Saryukin is finally going to get his title shot. If that's the case, and which is rightfully so, right? Because Arman Saryukin hasn't lost yet. Well, not that he hasn't lost yet. And the recent fights, compared to everybody that's in lightweight currently, Armin Sayukin hasn't lost yet, and he's beaten. Obviously, Armin lost, but he's beaten all the niggas that he was supposed to beat to get to where he at right now. So it would make sense. It is time, like what I said about Marcel Evloff and you know, finally getting his title shot, and now him and Volk is about to fight. Volk's about to defend his belt against Mopsar. Stay tuned for that. They're just waiting on the location, but it's the same shit I said about Armin. At this point, Armin needs to get his shot. Armin is pretty much like way overdue, at least a year and a half overdue. Armin should have been got a shot, but it makes me believe that Justin Gaethje going to defend his belt against Armin Sayukin. Now, turn that to Max and Paddy. Max, and I heard what he said that he might stay at welterweight. That wouldn't be smart for him, bro. I want Max to come down back to lightweight, because if Max was to stay at welterweight, and it was more so like Max wants a shot at Islam, which cool, you know. Max, he gonna fight anybody, anytime, anywhere type shit. But dog, them niggas at welterweight is not fucking around, bro. We talk about Carlos Paredes, and I'm talking about the top 3. You know, there's some other niggas at welterweight where I feel like Max is better than them skillful wise, but because these niggas pack a punch and they're bigger than Max, I feel like they will bully Max, which is ironic that Nikita Krylov tried that with Robert Whittaker, and Robert Whittaker pieced Nikita Krylov the fuck up. But these niggas at welterweight, I'm telling you, they big, and even to me, like, I felt like Conor would get smoked with this. A nigga like Michael Morales, bruh. You telling me Conor McGregor is gonna beat a nigga like Mike? We not even talking about Islam. Just Michael Morales. You think a nigga like Conor gonna beat Mike Morales? Hell no. And I'm saying the same shit about Max. Max is not beating somebody like Michael Morales, because Michael Morales, he's not even a natural welterweight. So, and then you still got Ian Gary, who, my personal opinion, to be honest, it's neck and neck with him and Max. They're striking, but Ian Gary, he has a little bit faster movement, and he's big on top of that. And if he needs to, he will grapple the fuck out of you. We seen it. We seen Ian Gary get down on the ground if he needs to and slow the fight down. So I'm like, Max, he need to go down to lightweight. And with that being said, the matchup that I can see him getting that honestly would make sense at this point, Mauricio Hufi. Think about it. Thinking about it where they at in the rankings, okay? And thinking about the current not the current landscape of lightweight, but think about all the matchups that's being taking place at lightweight right now. Plus, Mauricio Hufi, he was going to be the backup fighter if one of these niggas bailed out. So we, low-key, what we know now of Conor's injury and reported, you know, theories of Conor's injury, we low-key could have got that matchup Saturday night. So, fuck it. You know, Mauricio, he don't have a fight matchup right now, obviously, because he was the backup fighter for that. And then Max, the shit only happened in 69 seconds, so he ain't take a damn damage. Not even a fucking little scratch. So, fuck it. Go ahead and run that matchup. And Paddy, now, before I get to Paddy's matchup, because his is a little complicated, could Paddy, like, out of all the new stars that we got in the UFC right now, and, you know, we still got Alex Pereira, we still got Ilya Topuria, and even with some of the, in my personal opinion, we got a lot of up-and-comers, niggas like Luke Riley and Kevin Vajos at featherweight, where I feel like they can be huge stars, huge international stars like a Charlie Olives or a Jose Aldo or even an Ilya Topuria right now. Can Paddy really be the new face of the UFC? Like, because let's be honest, he do got that Conor McGregor atmosphere with the fans. Like Ilya Topuria, yeah, he's one of the faces of the UFC right now internationally. you know, he's probably more regarded or more recognized. But there's something about Paddy and his energy and the way he moves. It's almost like an English, British version of Conor McGregor. And the crowd doing his dance and all that shit and getting hype. It's almost Conor McGregor-esque. So that's what I'm asking y'all. Y'all think Paddy can legit be the new face of the UFC? Now, personally, I will say this. I think the days of one nigga being the solid, just pure face of the UFC, I think that's gone. I feel like we're now in a day of age of the UFC where we have 2 to 3 or maybe 4 faces of the UFC, where all of them collectively combined, that's gonna hold, put the UFC on their backs. So I won't say Paddy. Me personally, I won't say Paddy. I won't say Paddy is, he won't be the singular face of the UFC, but he will be one of the faces of the UFC. Because we still got Alex Pereira, we still got Ilya Topuria, John Jones maybe come back, but Paddy himself, he won't be the face. I'll say that he won't be the face. He'll just be one of the faces. You know what I mean? So I'll say that. But y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. Can Paddy truly take over the UFC and be a Conor McGregor type guy for the UFC? But his matchup in particular, see, this is where it get tricky. This is where it get tricky. Because he lost to Justin Gaethje, right? I would not give him somebody like Charlie Olives. Maybe give him somebody like the winner of Qualeen Zakid. And who's Zakid facing? Mateusz Gamrot. Maybe I would give him somebody like that. But even if Qualeen Zakid, let's just say Qualeen Zakid beats Mateusz Gamrot, I would low-key keep Qualeen Zakid away from Paddy for, just for another fight. But at the same time, we gotta see where the rankings at. That might be the matchup to make. So it's either and tell you the truth, you could give him Ilya Topuria. Like, low-key, it might be that time. It might be that time to make that matchup. But y'all let me know what y'all think, bro. Because you can go with Ilya Topuria, or you could low-key go with the winner of Qualeen Zakid and Mateusz Gamrot. Because Paddy is in that position where now he's going to have to fight one of these niggas, bro. He's going to have to fight one of these top niggas because he brought himself back into that conversation where, he got to fight somebody in that top 5 now. But who would you give him? You know what I mean? I'm going to take a look at the rankings again, but I'm just saying, it could be another option. Maybe it's not option A, but it's another option. Maybe you run with Paddy and Arman Sayukin as title eliminator. Maybe, just maybe. But then again, this goes to what I've been saying about in today's UFC, especially with certain weight classes. All you got to do is if you lose, just win one fight. Just win your next fight and you back in title conversation. Especially the way some of these weight classes is constructed. It's constructed like that for a reason, where you can win, bounce back off of 1 or 2 fights and you right back in the thick of things. So Paddy is in that predicament where he's pretty much right back in it. So I would say, because who would you give him, bro? Who would you give him? Like, you can tell you the truth. The only other matchup you can say would be Max Holloway. But I like the Max Holloway and Mauricio Hufi much better. Or unless you go with Paddy and Rafael Vazit, you can go with that. But then Paddy will be... See, because Rafael Vazit is a little bit down in the rankings based on the new AI system. But would Paddy even fight down like that? So, and that's what I'm saying. If Paddy's not willing to fight down like that, what's his other options? You know what I mean? Because I wouldn't... No, Dan Hooker, no. That would be for Bobby Green. So that's where it gets tricky. Plus, you know, the little politics that Ali is playing with Justin Gaethje. So, but I mean, that's what I said earlier. I think Gaethje is going to defend the belt against Armisai Yukin. So you can't even say Armisai Yukin. So low key, it's either Charlie Olives, Max Holloway, or the winner of Colleen Sakid and Mateusz Gamrot. Because I don't think now that would be a good matchup with him and Rafael Vazit, but Rafael Vazit is a little far back. It really wouldn't make sense for Paddy to do that. So I'll just go with those three choices. Y'all let me know what y'all think. But yeah, man. And then also, before we end this video, that boy, hey, y'all know. Oh, Brandon, before we, matter of fact, I'm gonna add this on to it because we're gonna have to talk about it. Y'all know flyweight is my favorite weight class. I keep saying it over and over. That boy Joshua Van. So Joshua Van and Pantoja, the rematch, is in the works to fight at 331 in September. So keep your eyes on that for that announcement. 331. Joshua Van and Alexandre Pantoja is going to headline that card. And now, going to Brandon Royval. Now, I read the little thing, and they said that before, it was like Friday or even Saturday afternoon, I read about it. So, Joshua Van, and I just told you about Joshua Van and Pantoja. Well, they said that was already going to happen. That's in the works. Manel Cap is going to get winner. So who did that leave? And rightfully so. I feel like Manel Cap should get winner. He should just wait it out, get the winner. So what did that leave Brandon Royval? What did that leave Brandon Royval? And he called out a Sue. So maybe that's the matchup to make. Y'all let me know. But oh yeah, bro. Hey, we just getting started, y'all. We just getting started. Is there anything else? I really think that's it. I think that's it. Gable Stevenson, I'm going to double back on him because we need to talk about a little bit of him. So he's going to be in a separate video. But I think that's pretty much it. So, yeah, man, we moving on to OKC this weekend with DDP and Marty Usman. And by the way, for those that made it this further into the video, I'm going back to my hometown on Wednesdays, so I'm probably not going to upload up until I might throw something. I got to figure it out. But I might throw something Thursday, or the next time y'all niggas will probably see me is going to be Friday for the preview show for Marty Usman and DDP. But anyway, it's your boy DHP. Until my next video, we'll see y'all niggas later, man.